Hello. In this video, we are going to see how to take a screenshot of your project and upload it into GitHub to share for what your project looked like. All right, so the first thing is to find a good representative picture of what your project is. So, if I just in the P5 editor here, if I play it, all right, so there's my game. All right, so you might want to go through and find something else that really shows off what your project looks like. Just a really cool scene. Um, so then what I'm going to do is find the snipping tool. So I'm going to go to the Windows search bar here and search for snipping tool. This is a very convenient way to take a snapshot. All right, so from here, I'm going to click on New. And then I'm just going to drag over kind of a part of my game that I want to save. All right, so this is just a little snippet that I want to hold on to. Next, click File, and then Save As, because you're actually going to save this screenshot as an image file. That's a file that you can then upload into GitHub. All right, so just save it to my downloads. That works. And I'll call it, screenshot's fine. And just give it some kind of a name that's going to be easy for you to type in later. Now notice that the format is .png. We're going to see that again, but that's important at a later stage of what the exact file name is going to be. All right, so you click on Save, and then it's saved. So now there's a file on your computer. So then going over to GitHub, we're going to add that file so that it's actually available online here. So go to Add File, Upload Files, and we'll find that one. All right, so there's my screenshot.png. And it looks like the exact file name is screenshot.png with the PNG capitalized. So eventually we're going to have to remember that and type in exactly that same name. All right, so I'll just change my commit message to like upload screenshot image or something like that. All right, so I'll commit directly to the main branch and then commit changes. Click on that green button there. All right, so now that file is in here. Where you're going to make that show up is in the Readme file. Now the readme.md. So they make it convenient. You can actually just click on this little pencil here, or if you click on the readme.md, then you can go from there. Now, if you don't have a README file here, then you just go Add File, Create New File, and then call it exactly that, readme, all caps, .md, when you get a chance to make a name. But you probably have it, so I'll click on the pencil here. All right, so this README format, you had the name of your project in really big letters. So there's two different ways that you can edit a README file. You can either use the Markdown syntax. You could look up how all that works, and it's a nice little Markdown language. But you can also just use HTML. So for example, if I didn't want to use the Markdown format to make a big header, well, I can just, like in HTML, I can just make an h1 tag. So if you're not familiar with HTML, notice how this is a less than symbol and then a greater than symbol. So I made that opening tag. See how the h1 is kind of just sitting in between those less than and greater than. And I'm going to go ahead and close off h1 tag. So it's a less than and a greater than, kind of very similar. You just put a slash right in front of h1. And then I'm going to put my cursor right between those two angular braces, like right between where those points are, because that's right in the middle of the opening and the closing tag. So whatever I put in there, that's the text that's going to be my header. So I can just type whatever I want, type the name of your project. All right, and then the way to get an image into an HTML file is to use the img tag. Now, these are actually just one-sided. You only need an opening tag, but you do need to add some extra attributes to say what picture you're going to open. So I'm going to put my cursor right after the G there, space src equals quotes. Go ahead and do another set of quotes. I didn't mean to do the enter there, just like that. All right, so see the pair of quotes there. Right between those quotes, you put either the URL of an image that you found online, or just the relative path file, which is basically just the name of the image. Now, if you put it in a folder or something, you have to say the folder. But since I just uploaded mine, I can just say screenshot.png. Notice how I typed it exactly the way that it was named, capitalization and everything, when I uploaded it. So with that img tag, that will open an image, and then you set the src attribute equal to the image itself, or the location of the image. Notice how that has to be in quotes. All right, so let's see if the preview even pulls in. All right, so even the preview shows us that it pulls in that image. All right, so if this looks great, then you don't have to do too much else with the image, at least. But I'm going to go back to edit file just to show you a couple more things that you might want to do. You can add a second attribute for width. So what if you want to change the size of that image? Then still inside of the tag here, I did space width equals quotes. It's going to be a number, but we still have to use quotes. And then I could say something like 200px for 200 pixels. All right, so that made it pretty small. That's not the size that I want. But depending on your image, you might want to change the size of this. So I think I'll actually go with something like 400 pixels. Yeah, looks pretty good. All right. So that would be the process of getting an image in, but we might as well talk about doing a little bit more in here. But let's save that for another video. All right, so the last thing is just to like change the commit message, add image to readme. Now, when I type these commit messages, there's nothing magic here going on. I'm just writing a message. Commit directly to main, green button, commit changes. All right, so now that's updated on my page. And if I'm back on my main profile, you'll see how those changes were affected right here. That's what this README file is all about, is it's a good way to just introduce somebody to your project who's ever coming to this page without them having to look through the code, download it, run it. You can just explain what it's about, have some screenshots. So that's at least how you get an image into here.